Hey guys, it's Al from Altruistic Channel, and I just want to take a moment to address kind of a question. Sorry, my hair's all messed up. I was laying down. I just wanted to take a moment to address a question that I was asked, which is, what's the big deal with the 2020 thing? Okay, so I know that not a lot of people are necessarily on spiritual journeys right now, and I know that a lot of people have kind of maybe disconnected a little bit with their spiritual past, but it's not accidental that the year that we're leaving is 2019 and we're entering into 2020. That is literally 2020. It's the year reflection on a cosmic level. And it's something that you probably should be aware of anyway. And so what's happening is that the energies are kind of splitting, if you will. It is it is the moment where your parents get home and you've obviously had a party and there's vomit and beer everywhere. And so you have a moment where you go, what, did you do this? Did you have a party? And you can either go yes or no. That's what this year's about. So just understand that, like, for those of you who are not a big religious follower, you can see the decline in things around you. And you're starting to possibly feel a little bit like a cat in a room of rocking chairs because of the tension that's building, not just politically, but internally between communities, between the dynamics within even households. There is the inequality aspect, the segregation, the hatred speech, and blasphemous at that. I mean, at the end of the day, we have been so complacent and non caring. So not only have we put the planet in jeopardy, but we're not actually doing the things we need to do to save it. And also have literally watched as our organized religious structures have just crumbled, mainly out of their own doing, honestly. And I'm going to be a truth sayer here. I'm going to just say it. When you need to balance the scales of justice in providing to the cops and the police and investigators the people who violate our children. Like, you don't get a free pass out of that. But in its own undoing and its own corruption, it not only did that, but it also mutated God's word, whatever you believe, God, Allah, or wherever it is, violated its word and corrupted it into hatred, division, segregation, and genocide and war. But we kind of just went, oh, well, we're just not going to go to church. Well, in not going to church, you lost a sense of community that nobody seems to be really worried about. But yet, it's your children who are acting in ways that show what the results are of not having that sense of community. It's not that we as parents did anything wrong. It's just that there's a disconnect between that sense of camaraderie with our neighbor, mainly because we don't even introduce them to our neighbors anymore. So that sense of having someone having your back for a single mom is gone, and she's on her own, and so it can create a state of confusion or overwhelming. And it's not a gender; it could be a dude by himself. The point is that we're not acting in ways that are compliant to what we actually need as human beings, and now our kids are paying the penalty for these things. There's a reason that they are not able to cope in public settings because we've kind of cut them off. A Nintendo is a great tool for entertainment, not the best nanny. And so we're at a point now where mommy and daddy are home, we had the party, and we're all going to just basically go, yeah, I did it. I know I'm grounded. And just own it and do the work. That's basically what you need to do right now. Own it, tend to your garden, align yourself with what is working for your life and what needs to go. Because if you don't do it, God's going to do it at this point. Because when you don't act in compliance with what's being asked of yourself, you're lying to yourself. We're all sitting there saying, oh, there's nothing wrong, while we're watching the entire world go to shit. And there's a level of disconnect between our faith structure, our leadership. Instead of looking for leaders that are role models, we're looking for leaders that have skill sets that appear to be role models. It's not a camaraderie anymore. It is a very divided country, world, nation, name it. So what did we expect would happen? It has been foretold for fucking eons. And then 2,000 years ago, we were even warned that it could be even worse. And so I think what you're hearing is the people that everyone in the animal kingdom and every plant on the planet is feeling the pressure start to build. And you're now going to probably come into what a lot of us went through that are on the path and on spiritual journeys that encountered last year, this year that we're leaving. It was brutal, but we do that so that we can clear the way so that if Christ does come back, whatever your faith to be, if when he comes back, we will have done the work. Have you done your work? And that's basically all that's happening right now. And it's not like it's going to be Judgment Day or anything like that at this point. Not this year, but it's a year that you're going to have to basically answer the basic questions. What have you done with your time on this planet? What have you learned from the time here on the planet? What have you actually done from the experience to make it better on the planet? And if you can't answer those questions, you are probably going to have a really rough year right now. So it's not to scare anybody, but you can't ask a question and then expect me to lie to you about it when I'm a spiritual leader. Like, that's not going to happen. I'm going to be honest with you. And the honest to God truth is this. You need to align yourself with what is true for you. You're not even being asked to give up everything. Like, it's not like at that scale. It's just basically saying, if it does not work in your life, get rid of it, or I will get rid of it for you. And I do mean that. Like, I'm not like a false prophet or anything. This is just logic. We're not taking care of ourselves. And when we're not taking care of ourselves, we're putting the planet in jeopardy. Here's the biggest question you need to ask yourself. If you were a deity, whether it be Allah, God, or whoever you believe in, and the planet that kept everything on that planet safe and secure and kept it sustained was suddenly in peril because the animals had decided to go crazy and not care about the planet, which of the two would you keep? So we can't even get mad about it. Like, there's nothing that you can say at this point that will justify the inactions that we have taken. All you can do is look at it for what it is. Mom and Dad busted us. Get your shit together. Because if you don't, we can tell that something is coming further down the pike. So why risk it? Just be an adult. You have kids. You brought them into this world. I'm assuming that you want them to have a future. So stop hiding behind a fear-based system that is no longer there because the church went down. Everything now is all about spirituality and camaraderie and about supporting one another. I mean, look at your kids. They single-handedly maybe misaligned it, but they did create a sense of community for business and actually change the entire industry because of their need to connect again with the community. But they aligned it with business. They have the expansive mindset that we need to get behind. And so I'm just giving you the heads up that you asked me a question, and as a father figure, if you will, in this scenario, as a person of spiritual leadership, the honest to God truth is just take it on the nose because we've earned it and just fix it. It's not like it's going to be like we're not dying, but you just need to take care of your stock. You need to look at the garden and make sure that everything that's weeds is out of there. If you're not in a marriage that you're unhappy and you don't want to be in it, you need to check out of it now because we're in a situation where if you don't, you might be there for 40 years more. These are harsh truths, guys. All you got to do is actually expand your mind by asking yourself some basic questions. Why do I feel uneasy all the time? And if you can't answer that question, then it's time for you to kind of go on to a spiritual kind of journey. But be brave. It's not a big deal. It's just tend your garden. Understand that people are they're going to be a little bit edgy 2020 because they're going to have to face their fears, a lot of them, and they're going to have to face some things in the past. Most of you won't even have to blink an eye because you kept your garden. Anyway, that's it for Al and Altruistic Channel. Have a great 2020, and everybody's going to be fine.